Good morning, I'm Zookeeper. This is Easy, and welcome to Emerald Zoo. You gotta explain something to me. Here, Easy. You gotta explain HVAC. You've made this environment in this tent. Now, how do you regulate temperatures and your relative humidity?
Basically, what you're referencing is with HVAC is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. It's just an acronym that everybody uses. But basically, it comes down to air management in your environment. And it comes down to being able to control temperatures and humidity. And by moving cool air in and hot air out, we're able to keep the temperatures down, keep humidities down. We're able to keep our room where we want. And by moving cool air in, warm air out, we can bring fresh CO2, fresh air. The plants are going to need that. And it's critical to vent. Your room needs to have air management. And along with that, cool air in, warm air out, random air currents. You want oscillating fans so that your fans, your plants, not your fans, your plants see air currents from all directions, top, bottom, and the sides.
Okay, so what kind of power does this require? 110, 220? And how much is this going to cost me?
Most of your fans are going to run off 110, so it's going to run off to plug in right the wall where most houses are going to you're going to have those kind of power available. As far as costs, it depends on brand, CFM, the size of the fan, but you're going to spend a couple $100 on fans, and then you're going to have to invest in a charcoal filter as well, because you're going to have to filter air in, filter air out, and that all comes down to around odor management. And you had asked one time about you never want a building, you don't want to live or work where there's a strong grow in odors, and that's controlled with charcoal filters. And I'll show you exactly what kind of charcoal filter and what's involved with that in a video here in a little bit.
Now, you've changed up your exhaust system this time. You had the Phat Fans. Now you're going with the AC Infinity. Why is that?
The AC Infinity fans changed room noise drastically. I'm sure you've been around the grow rooms enough you've heard the fans run. They're loud. You can't have a conversation standing next to them. These fans allow for conversation. They're way quieter. And again, in most home grows, discretion. It's about discretion. And with the noise reduction, this allows for a whole lot of discretion.
Okay, so
how do I know how big a fan's?
How do I know how big a fan I need for my system or for my environment?
All right, so if you're using, like we are, a 4x4, 6.5 foot tent, that's 104 cubic feet. And the way you figure that is width times length times height. That gives you 104 cubic feet. When you figure that in, you want to be able to change that air out in that tent or that room 3 times a minute. So if you take that 104 cubic feet, you divide it by 3, that'll give you absolute minimum fan size, which is around 40 CFM. You wouldn't want to use a fan that small because you add lights, you add a charcoal filter, you add filters in, you add all that stuff in there, any kind of duct work. You want to add about 30 to 40% on top of that minimum. So you really want to almost double your what your dimension was divided by 3. You want to double that. So you want to move quite a bit of air in and out. We're using 6-inch fans, and they're right about 245 CFM a minute each, which is a whole lot of air in and out.
Which is approximately, what, 5 times as much? 6 times as much.
Probably so, but that's how come we don't deal with no odors or issues like that. And because we filter the air in, we filter the air out, we have no odors leaving the room, and we have nothing being introduced into the environment.
Okay.
When you're dealing with fans, especially in if you're growing in a warehouse or an industrial environment or anything like that, power draw and some of those things don't matter. But in a home grow, make sure that you're adequately supplied with power and you're not overdrawing on any of your circuits, because you do risk some fire hazards. There are some safe. We'll go over safety at the very end of this whole thing, but that all that plays into that. So just make sure you're always being safe. And if you're doing any electrical work, either yourself or a qualified electrician needs to be doing it for you.
Right on.
As you know, I'm lucky enough to be multi-craft, and so I do the electrical and mechanical around here with no problem.